Dr. Travis Tubré exemplifies what is truly outstanding about the faculty of UWRF, accomplished researchers and professionals who consider the education of students through research and professional opportunities to be of the highest importance. Please welcome to the podium UWRF 2008 Distinguished Teacher, Dr. Travis Tubré.
Welcome. I want to begin by thanking all of you for being here today to share in the celebration of the accomplishments of our graduates. Never mind the weather, a lot of people seem to turn out. At the spring commencement, I gave personal thanks to the many friends and colleagues whose wisdom and support is so meaningful to me. In the interest of saving time, I won't repeat those today, but you know how much you all mean to me. To my wife, Amber, and my son, Gavin, and my in-laws, Dennis and Kathy, thank you. Your love and acceptance is more than anything I could have imagined in my life. I also want to extend a special thank you to my mother, Debbie, who's traveled all the way here from Louisiana to be here today. Most of what is good about me I have taken from you. Most of what is not so good I picked up myself along the way. The title of my talk is Inspiring and Being Inspired. My goal was to talk to you about how people sometimes think of teachers as people who inspire them, but if you ask most teachers, they'd say that our students inspire us more than we could possibly inspire them. Inspiration is a funny thing. I got the inspiration for this talk at a urinal in a fine English pub in a faraway land called Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Right in front of the urinal is a quote from Winston Churchill: "I have taken more out of alcohol than alcohol has taken out of me." Unfortunately, I'm not here today to talk about alcohol, but I want to use a similar theme to talk about life in general. One theory in developmental psychology tells us that it's important as we age to be able to reflect on a life of achievement, to be able to conclude that we have given more than we have taken from the world around us. I have to admit that I'm misrepresenting the theory a little, but that's okay. I'm not a developmental psychologist. I also disagree with my misrepresentation of the theory. Giving back is important, but I also think it's important that we leave the world feeling like we've taken more out of life than it's taken out of us. It may sound selfish, but I don't want to leave thinking about the ways I've sacrificed to teach and serve others. I don't see teaching as a sacrifice. I see it as a gift that allows me to have the richest variety of experiences of anyone I know. I hope that students are sometimes inspired by my teaching, but I know I will leave this world thinking that they have inspired me more than I have inspired them. A wonderful student named Diana Sura once said to me that she appreciates my teaching because I seem like a real person, because I put myself out there. It's true. I talk to students openly about my anxieties, my insecurities, and my failures. But it's not because I want them to learn from me. It's because I want to see their real selves, and I want to learn from them. Psychologists call it reciprocity and self-disclosure, but as with most things we say, there's a simpler way to say it. You can't really know people if you don't let them know you. So let me put myself out there a bit. As a psychologist, I spend lots of time warning students about the dangers of first impressions, about avoiding stereotypes, about not making assumptions with limited evidence. It's nice being a psychologist because you get to talk a lot about the stupid things that other people do. In fact, a student once pointed out to me that I was lucky to be a psychologist because it makes you a better person. We'll get back to that. A few years ago, I taught a winter term section of general psychology. I had a student in the class who, by all appearances, was the most profoundly physically disabled student I've ever encountered. His condition was serious. He was in a wheelchair. He struggled mightily, using his hand to control his chair with a joystick. As far as I could tell, he couldn't take notes or write. When he spoke, it took a long time for him to form words, and when the words came out, they were difficult to understand. Contrary to everything I teach, I started making assumptions about the situation immediately. I couldn't imagine how he would do well in the class. Winter term sessions are concentrated, class every day, 3 hours a day for 3 weeks straight. How could he take in all that information without being able to write it down or talk it through? Not one to be exclusive, I didn't stop there. I made assumptions about the other students as well. Their interactions with him might be awkward. They might have trouble seeing past his physical limitations and getting to know him as a person. Today I stand here as ashamed about those assumptions as I have ever been about anything in my adult life. His test scores were among the best in the class. His writing was excellent. I had a potluck on the day of the final, and he showed up with some marvelous taco dip or something. His social integration was flawless. His peers never patronized him. They accepted him like any other member of the class. He and his peers had proven me a fool. I suppose that some of the students actually learned some psychology from me in that course, but I learned a life lesson that was certainly more valuable. I'm sure that I took more from the experience than others took from me. In the fall of 2004, I taught a section of general psychology to a class of psychology majors. Many of the students from that class are here today. I had a prototypical problem student in the course. Her name was Alyssa Olson. Her test scores were awful. Her attendance was worse. Toward the end of the semester, I called her into my office to read her the riot act about doing nothing in the course. I probably said something like, "What the heck is wrong with you?" I may have said some kind words like, "Don't waste your potential," or "You can turn this thing around," but I probably didn't mean them. I thought I'd never see her again. I had judged her. Never mind the fact that I myself had a 0.8 GPA after 3 semesters in college. My situation was different. She wasn't going to succeed. A couple of years later, I got this strange message from her, thanking me for helping her get her life in order. Seriously, she was thanking me for failing her and then yelling at her about it. In class one day, I had shared my story of failing out of college, being readmitted, and making the most of the opportunity. She was inspired by that. I found out that she had, in her own words, begged and cried her way back into school. She had changed majors and found inspiration in combining education with international experiences and serving others. She's studied since in Italy and Uganda and will be traveling to Kenya next summer. She's co-founding a student chapter of the United Way. She'll be graduating in the spring. I'm truly ashamed of what I expected of her, and I'm so grateful that she reached out to connect me with her experience when I didn't do the same for her. I'm very thankful that she found benefit in our interactions, but that seems more in spite of me than because of me. I'm so proud of Alyssa, and her story inspires me deeply. I surely have taken more from our relationship than she has taken from me. So to return to my student's comment about how being a psychologist makes you a better person, you're wrong. Being a psychologist doesn't make you a better person. It just helps you feel guiltier about not being one. Being a person makes you a better person. Being a person who engages in other people's lives makes you a better person, not because of what you do for them, but because of what they do for you. They give you opportunities to be wrong, and as long as you learn from it, being wrong about other people makes you a better person. So I'm very thankful for my job because I can't imagine any other job that would give me so many opportunities to be so wrong about so many people. So to my wise student Diana, thank you for allowing me to be a person, and thank you for being a person to me. Your story and your experience inspire me greatly. To Alyssa, thanks for allowing me to be a person and still embracing me in your life despite what I assumed about you. Your story and your experience inspire me greatly. To the many other students out there who have shared your lives with me, directly or indirectly, and who have let me share my life with you, thank you for allowing me to be a person. Your stories and your experience inspire me greatly. I hope that all of you won't think me selfish if I say that I have taken more from these experiences than they have taken out of me. Thank you.